You know that feeling when you're sitting on a plane, waiting for takeoff, and you just kind of trust that everything is okay? Well, have you ever really stopped to think about who makes it okay? It's way more than just the pilots. There's this massive, invisible web of rules and people working behind the scenes, and today, we're going to pull back that curtain. All right, so here's our flight plan for today. We'll start at the very top, asking who rules the skies. Then we'll zoom in on Europe's big aviation watchdog. After that, we get into the nitty-gritty, the license to fix for mechanics and the rules for the workshops where they work. And then, the best part, we'll connect all the dots before a quick knowledge check at the end. So let's kick things off at the highest level you can imagine. We're talking about the global blueprint, the master plan for keeping every flight, everywhere, safe. I mean, really think about it. Who is the ultimate authority? Is it the airline, the pilot, the country you're in? Well, the answer is a little more complicated. Because it's not just one person, it's a whole system, a layer cake of oversight that was designed decades ago with one single mission, to make flying ridiculously safe. To get it, we've got to jump in a time machine back to 1944. World War II was ending, and global leaders knew that air travel was about to explode. So they met in Chicago to create a common rule book. A few years later, by 1947, this group officially became ICAO, a special agency of the United Nations. Now, it is super important to understand what ICAO is and what it isn't. It is not some kind of global aviation police that goes around grounding planes. Think of ICAO as the architects. They create the master rulebook, the big picture standards that over 190 countries have all agreed to follow. They provide the blueprint, but it's up to everyone else to actually enforce it. Okay, so if ICAO just writes the blueprint, how do those standards actually become real, hard, and fast laws? Well, to see that in action, let's zoom in from the global view and look at how Europe handles it with its own powerful watchdog. And here it is. Meet EASA, the European Aviation Safety Agency. If ICAO is the architect, you can think of EASA as the general contractor for all of Europe. They take those global blueprints and turn them into binding, enforceable laws for 32 member states. They're the ones who give the rules some serious teeth. And the process itself is a pretty clear chain of command. It starts with the European Commission proposing a new law. Then, EASA, with all its technical brainpower, drafts the super detailed rules. And finally, each individual country's own aviation authority takes those rules and makes sure they're being followed on the ground. Simple as that. So now we have laws. But what do these laws actually look like in the real world? Let's get specific now and dive into the first of two super important regulations. This one is all about the people, the ones with the wrenches in their hands. This is EASA Part 60, and you can just think of it as the official license to fix. It's the rule book that says, hey, if you're going to touch this multi-million-dollar aircraft, you better have proven you know what you're doing. It means passing tough exams, having real-world experience, and being officially licensed to do the job right. And within this rule book, there's one rule that is absolutely critical: the certifying staff. These are the folks with the ultimate responsibility. After all the work is done, they are the ones who do the final inspection and sign the logbook. That signature is their personal guarantee that the aircraft is safe to fly. No pressure, right? And these licenses aren't one size fits all. They're highly specialized. A Category A license is for more basic everyday tasks. But for the heavy-duty stuff, you need specialists. A B1 license is for the gearheads, engines, landing gear, the physical structure. A B2 is for the tech wizards, the avionics and electrical systems. And all the way at the top, a Category C license holder can sign off on an entire plane after a major overhaul in the hangar. Okay, so we've got the licensed people covered. They've got the skills, the knowledge, the certificate on the wall. But where do they actually do all this important work? Well, that brings us to the other half of the equation, the rulebook for the workshops themselves. And this is its partner, EASA Part 145. If Part 66 is the license to fix, then Part 145 is basically the license to operate a workshop. It is the absolute gold standard. It's the regulation that makes sure any facility, any hangar, has the right tools, the right data, and the right procedures to do the job safely every single time. And let me tell you, getting that Part 145 sealed approval is a huge deal. An organization has to prove it has everything: the right building, the right tools, qualified staff, of course, and access to all the latest technical manuals from the manufacturer. Every single procedure has to be written down, approved, and audited. It's incredibly thorough.
Accountability is literally built into the management structure. You have to have an accountable manager who's on the hook financially, a quality manager whose only job is to check for compliance, a maintenance director running the show day to day, and all of them are there to support the certifying staff who make that final critical call.
So, we've looked at the global standards, the European laws, the licensed people, and the approved places. We have all the pieces of the puzzle on the table. So now, let's put them all together. Let's build the chain of airworthiness, step by step. It all starts at the top. ICAO, that UN agency, creates the global blueprint. It lays down the fundamental principles of safety that pretty much the whole world agrees on.
Then, EASA takes that blueprint and gives it legal power in Europe. It turns those recommendations from ICAO into detailed mandatory regulations. These are not suggestions, they are the law.
And those laws get very specific very fast. They split into two main streams. Part 66, which is all about making sure the people are qualified, and Part 145, which makes sure the places they work are up to standard. And this is the final, most important link in the chain. That whole system, from a UN meeting in Montreal to an office in Germany to a rulebook on a shelf, all of it comes down to this one moment. A Part 66 licensed mechanic working in a Part 145 approved hangar, making sure the plane you're about to get on is absolutely positively safe to fly. That's the chain.
Okay, that was a lot, I know, but hopefully it's all starting to click into place. So let's do a quick, simple thought experiment to make sure we've got it.
Okay, let's say a big passenger jet rolls into a hangar. It needs some work done before its next flight across the Atlantic. Based on everything we've just talked about, who is legally authorized to do that work and, most importantly, sign it off as safe? And the answer, of course, connects it all. The work has to be done by a Part 145 approved organization, and it has to be performed and certified by Part 66 qualified personnel. You need the approved place and the licensed people working together. It's not one or the other. So, the next time you fly, take a second to remember that unseen team and the incredible system that makes hopping on a plane the safest way to get around our planet.